pop up the picture of him. So I put Malibu. It's his personal beach. He's got a blanket over him. How the Paps get this is how does he not see somebody with a camera there? Is my first question. Secondly, you're a quarterback. You know the position. You know this cat in and out. What is he mulling over? What is he thinking?
Well, one, if he's going to play again, it's not going to anywhere. You want to go to a place that I don't think Aaron wants to end his career the way that it has over the last 24 months. An all-time great that has had the mindset that he's has doesn't want to go out that way, in my opinion. So out of the teams that have 0 to 100, 5 to 100% interest in him, who are those teams? And is it worth the commitment from the player perspective or his perspective to go there? Because you don't want to just go. I don't think he wants to just go to a place just to keep playing. He wants to go to a place that, one, can win and believe in that. And then two, he can play to the level that he wants to play at. And he knows he needs the support to do that. And at least you hear conversations that the desire for him is Minnesota. That's the starting point for him. And now Minnesota is thinking about it. I have been outspoken. If I was Minnesota or in that building, I would not do that. There's nothing negative against Aaron. I just feel that once Minnesota let Sam Darnold walk out of their building, they made a clear line of demarcation. We are moving forward with J.J. McCarthy. And I think that's the right decision. Do I think if Aaron goes there, he would play well? I think a lot of quarterbacks that go to Minnesota would play well. But I think just in that moment, Minnesota, let's go to the future. And if not Minnesota, I would imagine he's planning for, well, if Minnesota comes to him and says no, then is it Pittsburgh? And does he want to go to Pittsburgh? Does he think he could play well in Pittsburgh? Does he think they can win in Pittsburgh? And one of the things, Kay, that hasn't been talked about enough, in my opinion, by a lot of people is Aaron has run the same offense for the most part for, let's call it 10 years, if not 20. Minnesota's offense is very different than the one that he's at least been in comfort-wise. He's not a guy that loves a ton of motion, or he at least hasn't done it a lot lately. He's not a guy that loves a ton of different formations. And that's something that is the backbone of Minnesota. So, does he want to go to a Minnesota or a Pittsburgh knowing you're going to run very different schemes and probably some language that he hasn't done?
I'm trying to, I've heard everything you've said about him everywhere, all over ESPN, everywhere. And it's all like what the team should do, which is very responsible of you. But for me, I'm like, what would Aaron want to do? If you're Aaron, like, I understand what you're saying about scheme, but like Arthur Smith, Kevin O'Connell, like you're saying every quarterback. So he's got to want, I guess, to go to Minnesota. I'll ask you, like, JJ McCarthy, who gives them, the only question I have if I am Minnesota is who gives me a better chance to win the Super Bowl in 2025? Is it JJ McCarthy or Aaron Rodgers? What would your answer to that be?
It's probably Aaron Rodgers, but it's not that black and white, Kay. One, it is. I don't know what their cap situation is right now, but I know they've spent a lot of money in the last week. So, does that mean that they can't add another player or two that they want to, add? I don't know. I got to check into that a little bit. Two, do I think Aaron can do it one time?
I'm asking Hamilton, Dan. He's on it. It's 32 mil. 32 mil. Ham, you can pop on.
Probably enough to afford him, would be my guess. But is it Aaron that you get? You're not going to get 20 weeks of that Aaron. It is what it is. The age is what it is. So I don't think you're going to get that 20 weeks. Now, do you need it? Probably not. We just don't really know what JJ is.
I know, but that's why you got to get Aaron. Like, I think I know
the pushback I would say to you is this. What message are you sending to McCarthy?
I don't know if I care, because I just want to win a Super Bowl. And like the idea of like the pride of like, we took this guy, we maybe made the wrong choice, or the injury. We don't know, like, we don't know what he is. So if you have a chance to get Aaron, you can't let that stop you, I guess, if you have this window. And we haven't seen JJ play in a game yet in the NFL. And I think the team does have a lot of confidence in him, but I don't know. My message would be, hey, Mahomes sitting behind Alex Smith wasn't that dumb of an idea. Right, Aaron Rodgers sitting behind Brett.
Sure. I mean, Patrick sat for a year. I mean, I think if you're yes, you want to go to Minnesota if you're Aaron, but if you're Minnesota, do you think that JJ McCarthy in 7-8 months from now is going to play really good football? Because if you think he's going to play really good football, then again, I don't think you bring. And this is, I
Mhm.
hope people don't take the comment, Aaron. You're bringing in Aaron Rodgers. That's a big, big, big deal. You're not just bringing in a really good quarterback. You're bringing in Aaron Rodgers, and so everybody in your building needs to be on board with that. Everybody, your owner, your GM, the people in your front office, your head coach. And if you're Kevin O'Connell, you just bring up his name, and I would say, what happens if Aaron doesn't want to run your stuff that much? What happens if he doesn't want a ton of motions and shifts? Are you willing to adjust in that regard? Because then I would say that's taking away your superpower.
It's a great call. Yeah, I don't know. That's great. Who gives, yeah, who could take, which team could he take further with where they are? Like Steelers, I understand what you're saying about scheme, but he's going to go do what he wants anyway. So like Arthur Smith, good luck. Would he get along with Tomlin better than would get along with Kevin O'Connell in that division? Which team could he take further? Who's got the better defense? Like these are things, which team between the Steelers and the Vikings? I know he's got an offer from the Giants. Let's remove them
Minnesota,
from
better
this.
roster.
He could take them further.
I think so.
Yeah.
Minnesota's a better roster. Okay, if I just went down to 32 quarterbacks in the NFL, I would tell you 26 of them would go to Minnesota and play pretty darn good football. I mean, you have the three things needed: scheme and play caller, great offensive
Yeah.
line, great perimeter talent. So a lot of quarterbacks are going to play well there. Do I think that Aaron, obviously because of the way he played at the back end of last year, and then his background speaks to this is a guy that we can go really far with? Yes. But that doesn't mean JJ's not that guy either. But only
Yeah.
their building knows that. Like only their building knows that. Just because you can with Aaron or you think you can with Aaron doesn't mean you can't with JJ McCarthy.
It's true. It's just funny because he's like on the beach trying to figure it out. He's got these two offers, and of course, Aaron, probably because he's not getting it from Minnesota, wants it from Minnesota. And
Oh
then
yeah.
it's if he doesn't get it, is he retiring? I can't imagine. He'll go to
I
the
think he goes to
Steelers.
Pittsburgh. I think
Yeah.
I think if he doesn't go to Minnesota, and honestly, I would imagine Minnesota right now, it's a very real conversation for them. And they're probably legit, kind of like what we see in movies at times, sitting around in a room all talking about it's not just football. Like, is everybody on board with this? I think if it doesn't come from Minnesota, then Pittsburgh has to be a very real option for him. You don't have to be the guy that has to go change the building, change the culture, which is expected to in New York. You get to go just play quarterback. It's TJ Watt's team. It's Cam Hayward's team. It's Minka Fitzpatrick's team. You don't have to go and be the everything. You just have to go play really good quarterback. I think because of the receivers, you can. And because of the defense, that's a good unit. You can win a lot of games. And I mean,
Yeah.
they could compete. I would put them in that second tier in the AFC if he went.
Oof. Oof.